Far beyond the orbit of Pluto, in the cold, infinite expanse of interstellar space, lies a dying spacecraft that seems to be whispering what may be its final words. Voyager 1, the farthest human-made object in the universe, has traveled over 24 billion kilometers from Earth, journeying past planets, moons, and even escaping the sun's influence. Just when scientists and engineers thought its long voyage would end quietly, it transmitted a signal so strange, so unsettling, that it left the global scientific community in shock. The data it was sending no longer contained the structured information it had been designed to deliver. Instead, it was a chaotic, repetitive stream of binary code, ones and zeros cycling over and over as though the spacecraft were trying to convey something beyond our understanding. Was it a malfunction? A final death rattle? Or was it attempting to reveal something much deeper? What was certain, however, was that this was not the way Voyager 1 was supposed to say goodbye. Voyager 1 was launched in 1977 with a mission that was expected to last just 5 years. Its goal was to fly by Jupiter and Saturn, gather scientific data, and then continue drifting through space, becoming a forgotten relic of human ambition. However, the spacecraft exceeded all expectations. Not only did it complete its mission, but it continued far beyond the outer planets and ventured into the uncharted realms of interstellar space. Engineers in the 1970s never considered what would happen when Voyager passed beyond the solar system, but they built the spacecraft with extraordinary care, using the most advanced technology of the time, all on a modest budget of $250 million. They even prepared a backup Voyager 2 just in case anything went wrong, but Voyager 1 didn't falter. It thrived. It continued to transmit data for nearly half a century, powered by a radioisotope thermoelectric generator that used plutonium-238. With only 69 kilobytes of memory, it still managed to send back valuable data, including images, atmospheric readings, and measurements of cosmic rays from the farthest reaches of the solar system. Now, after decades of service, Voyager 1's systems are beginning to break down. In late 2023, engineers noticed unusual behavior in the spacecraft's telemetry data. Though it was still transmitting, the data it sent was nonsensical. The spacecraft's flight data subsystem, which is responsible for collecting and formatting scientific and engineering data, began sending out sequences of binary code that appeared to be meaningless, just repetitive patterns of ones and zeros. Engineers tried to reset the system, sending commands to the spacecraft, each one taking 22.5 hours to reach it and another 22.5 hours to receive a response. Yet nothing worked. The usual software patches failed, and even a hard reboot did nothing. As the engineers examined the problem, they suspected that a critical failure had occurred in the telemetry modulation unit, the device that links Voyager's computers to its transmitter. Without this key system, the spacecraft could no longer send meaningful scientific data. Instead, all it transmitted was a continuous stream of digital noise. But when scientists analyzed this noise using advanced processing software, they uncovered something peculiar. Amid the randomness, they found patterns. Recurring sequences, mathematical ratios, and prime number sequences, things that shouldn't appear in random noise. Some researchers began to wonder whether this might be Voyager's last attempt to communicate in a way we could understand. Could it be trying to convey something that transcended the normal limits of its design? Or had it stumbled upon something unknown out there in the depths of space that altered its behavior? Voyager 1 crossed into interstellar space in 2012 when it passed through the heliopause, the boundary where the sun's solar wind no longer dominates. This region, called the termination shock, is the beginning of true interstellar space, a place filled with cosmic radiation, hydrogen, helium, and gravitational waves, an environment never before explored. Though the spacecraft's passage through this region didn't fry it, it was subjected to extreme conditions that likely affected its systems. After crossing this threshold, Voyager 1 became the first human-made object to venture into interstellar space, a new frontier that scientists had not even anticipated exploring when the spacecraft was first designed. The strange signal it is now sending back has led some to speculate that Voyager may have passed through a region of space that altered its systems, causing a kind of breakdown or malfunction. Others wonder if it encountered something beyond our understanding, a force, a field, or a structure that is not native to our solar system. Some even theorize that what the spacecraft is transmitting is not merely a system malfunction, but something more profound, a sign of something interacting with the probe, forcing it into a state of digital madness. Long before this final strange transmission, Voyager 1 made one iconic gesture. In 1990, at the request of Carl Sagan, Voyager turned its camera back toward Earth and captured an image of our planet from over 6 billion kilometers away. The photograph, known as the pale blue dot, showed Earth as a tiny, fragile speck, suspended in a beam of sunlight. After this image was taken, Voyager's cameras were turned off forever to conserve power, and the spacecraft continued its mission without sight. Relying on its remaining sensors, it continued to gather data and send it back to Earth. Despite its blindness, Voyager 1 provided humanity with more information about the universe than any other spacecraft in history. Now, as its mission nears its end, Voyager 1 is transmitting its final message, not with silence, but with a stream of incomprehensible code. Perhaps this is fitting, for Voyager 1 has always been more than just a machine. It is a reflection of humanity itself, our technology, our aspirations, our flaws, and our hopes. This last transmission, though unintelligible, could very well be Voyager's final message to us, a message saying, "I traveled farther than you ever imagined, I endured far longer than anyone thought possible, and I reached out to you one final time." As the data continued to pour in, researchers were divided. Some believed that the stream of binary code was nothing more than a product of system decay, a dying machine struggling to communicate its last breath. Others weren't so sure. Several universities and private labs began to run the data through AI-driven pattern recognition software, and the results were unsettling. The code revealed patterns, structured intervals, ratios, and even elements that seemed to mirror the mathematical harmony of music and geometry. These were things Voyager was never programmed to transmit, let alone compute. What truly baffled the researchers was the way certain portions of the code seemed to follow a structure resembling language syntax, even though it didn't align with any known human language. Could it be that Voyager was attempting to communicate, not in the way we understand, but in a way we might only be able to decode if we could recognize it as something deliberate? Every discussion about Voyager inevitably turns to the golden. Record the gold-plated copper disc that Voyager 1 carries with it. This disc, containing sounds, music, and greetings from Earth, was designed as a message in a bottle, a way for humanity to reach out to any intelligent beings who might one day find the spacecraft. It also contains pulsar maps and scientific diagrams intended to explain where we come from. But now, as Voyager 1 sends back its strange data, a new theory has emerged. What if the message wasn't just sent out, but is now being reflected back? The binary sequences in Voyager's final transmission bear an uncanny resemblance to the waveform patterns on the Golden Record, suggesting that the message it originally carried may have been received and is now being returned, perhaps by something out there in the void that we have yet to understand. Some theorists even believe that the distortion of the signal is deliberate, a cipher created by this unknown intelligence to test whether we can recognize our own message in the form of alien code. As news of Voyager 1's final transmission spread, it ignited intense reactions across the globe, not just among scientists but in the hearts and minds of ordinary people. Some spiritual leaders saw it as a moment of divine connection, a sign that humanity's voice had finally been heard across the vastness of space. Others feared that it was a warning, a distant echo of something too powerful and mysterious for us to fully comprehend. In online communities, the signal became the focal point of thousands of theories and speculative interpretations. Music producers experimented with the binary code, turning it into ambient tracks, while artists created visual representations of what this mysterious transmission might look like. Governments, for their part, remained silent, offering no official statements. But satellite listening stations around the world began to tune in with newfound urgency, trying to decode the last signals from Voyager 1 as the spacecraft's power. Reserves continue to dwindle. NASA estimates that by the end of 2025, Voyager 1 will fall completely silent, its final signal lost to time. Yet even as it fades, its legacy has evolved. Voyager is no longer just a machine. It is a witness, a symbol of humanity's first step beyond the solar system. It is a relic of a time when we dared to dream of reaching the stars. And now, as it nears the end of its mission, it refuses to go quietly. Perhaps in its final act, Voyager 1 didn't just speak to us, it listened, and in doing so, it may have uncovered something we were never meant to find on our own.